Hello there, welcome to this Tuesday edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Coming up on today's program, we take a look back at a year of progress within the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We'll have that and more, so please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sometimes when we plant, we expect growth. And instead, something comes along and uproots it. Not at harvest time, but when we least expect it. Do we give up? Never. Because resilience is the heartbeat of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. From setback to strength, watch how the ministry stood firm and pushed forward. Catch highlights of the resilience in action through 5 major achievements from the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, airing January 21st, 2026.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, January 20, 2026. The government has received $160 million in tools and building materials from housing developer New Era Developments Limited. The supplies are to facilitate the government's Shelter Recovery Program, SRP, to restore roofs in hurricane-impacted parishes. The handover took place at the Jamaica Defence Force JDF Forward Operating Base in Luana, St. Elizabeth on Friday. In thanking the entity, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness said the contribution highlighted the value of public-private partnership in strengthening the country's disaster response.
I'm sure the people of Luana, Middle Quarters, Akongpong, Bluefields and White House, where work has already begun, I'm sure that they are most grateful.
Dr. Holness also expressed gratitude to the engineering troops from Ghana, Rwanda and Guyana who are working with the JDF in the rebuilding process. President of New Era Developments, Antoinette Tadeo, said the SRP reflected the company's shared commitment to national building, restoring dignity and strengthening resilience.
While work continues, the progress achieved thus far is both meaningful and commendable, and it stands as a testament to what we can accomplish through collaboration and purpose.
The National Housing Trust, NHT, has, to date, paid out $324 million in housing grants to 810 applicants under the Hurricane Relief Grant Initiative. Managing Director of the NHT, Martin Miller, made the disclosure during a sitting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, last week. He informed that the NHT had received 2,573 applications up to January 13, with 995 processed to date.
Just to give an idea, the distribution in terms of application, 617 from St. James, 225 from Manchester, 303 from Westmoreland, and I would want to park Westmoreland a little because we're having some challenges. Well, we had certainly in the early stages in terms of us being able to get to the affected persons. So we had to use various mechanisms.
Mr. Miller told the PAAC that 794 applications were received for St. Elizabeth, and the NHT processed 360 and settled 251 in terms of payment. He also informed of the requirement by the agency to verify ownership or lawful occupation of damaged properties, while recognizing that in some communities, formal land titles were uncommon.
The time frame that we establish is 1 year, having received all the documentation. And by documentation, we ask for pictures, evidence of ownership, or some rights to the property. Because if you are from rural Jamaica, you'll recognize that houses pass down from one generation to another generation. So you may not be in possession of a title. So we had to come up with other mechanisms such as the use of a JP, or recognized principal, or something to that effect.
Mr. Miller said all things being equal, once all documentations were received, within 3 days the NHT would be able to visit the site, do verification and validation in less than a week, and then submit for payments. The recently launched Shelter Recovery Program SRP will employ a multi-channel payment system aimed at improving efficiency, flexibility and accountability in the distribution of assistance to beneficiaries. Under the program, payments will be made through a range of options, including digital vouchers, prepaid or payment cards, or direct deposits to beneficiaries' bank accounts. Other options will be via approved remittance and checks in exceptional circumstances. Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. says the approach is intended to accommodate the different circumstances of affected households. It is also to strengthen transparency and accountability in the use of public funds.
For the larger portions, it is our intention to make sure that how we deliver it is in such a way that establishes and assures the country of not just efficiency, but accountability. And so we will be utilizing primarily for that larger portion the digital formats and vouchers that allow for us to know when it's used, how it is used, and to be able to ring fence and have some management, better management over where it is used.
Minister Charles Jr. indicates that safeguards have been built into the SRP, including digital verification receipts, improved contact mechanisms, and expanded community outreach. These include self-reporting tools, direct contact numbers, and calling cards given to residents to ensure access to internet connection.
We have put in place the overlaying structure to make sure that we can identify through the TRN and other means to ensure that persons get only into one stream.
Persons who have not yet been assessed are being encouraged to report their damage by visiting any Ministry of Labour and Social Security parish office. Work is well advanced to construct the new $150 million Trelawney Infirmary after the previous structure was destroyed by Hurricane Melissa in October last year. Minister of Local Government and Community Development, Desmond McKenzie, says the project marks the first major reconstruction initiative under the National Infrastructure Reconstruction Agency program. The minister toured the construction site in Falmouth on Thursday to assess the work in progress.
This phase of the work is to provide residence for the people who live within our infirmaries. We are going to be putting down a number of self-made containers. We're doing now the groundwork, putting in the base, and then we'll be putting in the concrete structure.
Minister McKenzie says the second phase of the project will include additional facilities, such as a storeroom, laundry facility, staff accommodation, and a required isolation unit, among other amenities.
Within another 2 to 3 months, we'll transform this, and you will see a total rebuild of the Trelawney Infirmary, which was totally devastated by Melissa. And we are now well advanced in finding a permanent place. And this will be the permanent location for the infirmary.
The new facility is being developed in phases, with $65 million already committed to the first phase. In keeping with the requirements of the amended Agricultural Produce Act, farmers are being urged to utilize the agricultural receipt book when selling produce to merchants. The initiative forms part of the Ministry of Agriculture's broader efforts to strengthen traceability within the agricultural trade and intensify the fight against the theft of farm produce. Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, JAS, Darren Grant, says receipt books are available for purchase at all JAS offices island-wide.
The cost of the book it was recently increased to $1,200 per receipt book, and they are available at all JAS office island-wide. When a farmer wants to purchase the receipt book, they should present their Rural Agricultural Development Authority ID, that is the farmer's ID that Mr. Edmondson spoke about earlier. And with that ID, our officers are able to access the Agricultural Business Information System, ABIS, to verify the person purchasing the book is actually the farmer.
He made the disclosure during a recent JIS think tank program. And finally, over $13 million in compensation was secured by the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, for utility customers from January to September in 2025. The breakdown shows over $6 million between January and March, in excess of $4 million between April and June, and a little over $3 million from July to September. Of the funds secured for the third quarter, the OUR says the National Water Commission, NWC, accounted for 72%, the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, 14%, and Digicel the remaining amount. For that same period, compensatory payouts were over $58 million to customers for breaches of the guaranteed standards, $50 million from the JPS and $8 million from the NWC. According to the OUR, breaches increased by 1% for the JPS and went down by 13% for the NWC. In addition, approximately $833,000 of the third quarter secured compensation were applied to customers' accounts by the service providers. The OUR concludes that there was a 22% decline in the number of utility customers contacting the agency, with billing matters being the main complaint. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Are you interested in buying land or property? Here are the steps you should follow. Step 1. Find out who is legally authorized to sell the property. Step 2. Ensure all property tax payments are up to date. Step 3. Consult an attorney at law who will guide you through the process and protect your interests. You can also use eLand Jamaica to check on matters pertaining to your property purchase. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. Email asknla@nla.gov.jm or message us on WhatsApp at 876-418-5089. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal to serve you better.
What a year it was for the Ministry of Health and Wellness. 2025 saw expansion and more improvements in the state of public health. Let's refresh your memory on some of the moments that defined the year.
With a renewed push towards disaster-resilient health systems and strengthened national emergency readiness, 2025 was a year of transformation for Jamaica's healthcare system. With the Ministry of Health and Wellness at the helm. The work to expand and improve hospital infrastructure saw progress in 2025. While several health centers were renovated under the ministry's Operation Refresh program. At the same time, major upgrades in diagnostics enhanced access to quality care across the island.
In addition to the addition of services and improved infrastructure, we are making available more points of care for the people of Jamaica, even as we adopt the life stage approach.
One of the most significant infrastructure developments of the health sector last year was the phased reopening of the Cornwall Regional Hospital's main building. While other rehabilitation work continues on the facility, a major milestone came with the opening of the upgraded administrative offices.
The block features critical added facilities.
Significant recognition was gained in 2025 by the Health Ministry, with its Department of Government Chemist and Environmental Health Laboratories achieving ISO certification. This is expected to strengthen regulatory enforcement and international recognition. The ministry continued to support opportunities for training and certification of more Jamaicans through the Dr. Barry Wint Memorial Scholarship with a yearly allocation of $500 million.
Last year we gave 600 people. This year we will continue for the next 4 years. And of course, have those persons come back to work in public health.
When Hurricane Melissa struck, the Ministry of Health launched a 3-phased response to ensure continued access to care. Tapping into government resources and the assistance of international partners, critical initiatives such as field hospitals and mobile pharmacy services were deployed as the recovery progressed.
The National Health Fund, working with the ministry, has adopted the Government of Jamaica emergency procurement methodology, which has activated repair works at 4 of the main hospitals in the affected health regions. And so we have seen work commenced already in the critical institutions.
And in December, the ministry announced a temporary waiver of import permits for a wide range of medical and personal care items. The measure, which is in place until March 31, 2026, was put in place to accelerate hurricane relief operations. From modern infrastructure to disaster resilience, the Ministry of Health and Wellness secured the health of the nation in 2025.
There's always something happening at Jamaica House to uplift and empower Jamaicans everywhere. Let's get the latest.
Last week began with a renewed call for scaled-up investments in cutting-edge technologies by the private sector to boost productivity and drive economic growth. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness made the appeal at the opening of the $35 million brewery and manufacturing facility by the Wisynco Group in Lake Spence, St. Catherine.
Let's expand the investment, but not just any kind of investment. You want cutting-edge investment, because the cutting edge that incorporates technology increases your productivity.
Dr. Holness reminded that the government had introduced an accelerated capital allowance in the 2025-2026 budget to encourage businesses to invest, expand, and modernize.
By allowing businesses to write off major capital investments more quickly. And we are lowering the effective cost of expansion, improving cash flow in the early years of the investment, and strengthening the returns on long-term projects.
Dr. Holness asserted that these deliberate pro-growth policies were already driving confidence and supporting investments and encouraged businesses to take advantage of the opportunity.
Now is the time for you to be thinking creatively. Now is the time for you to be entrepreneurial, as you are the entrepreneurial class. Now is the time to be thinking on big projects. Not small, timid projects, but large-scale projects that will move the needle.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister commended Wisynco Group on their investment, noting that the brewery reflected the importance of manufacturing as an anchor of productivity across the economy.
Manufacturing matters, not only because it creates jobs, but because it anchors productivity across the economy. It deepens value chains, drives skills development, supports exports, and creates resilient employment that is less vulnerable to external shocks.
Dr. Holness continued the conversation with executives from Scotia Global. The focus, economic outlook, strengthening the financial sector, and opportunities for continued investment and partnership. Prime Minister Holness reaffirmed the government's commitment to maintaining a stable macroeconomy, strengthening financial inclusion, and fostering a business-friendly environment. A major support for victims of Hurricane Melissa was unveiled last week, the Shelter Recovery Program, SRP. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness launched the program on Thursday, signaling a readiness for the distribution of grants up to $500,000 to eligible recipients. Under the SRP framework, individuals may access support through 6 initiatives: the restoration of owner or occupant family shelters, roofs, government-led repair, partnership-led repair, NHT support, deployment of modular housing solutions, and relocation or regularization. An initial $10 billion has been allocated to the flagship program, Roofs. Under this, an unrestricted grant of $75,000 will be given for the purposes of roof repair, replacement of household items or school supplies, or to replenish food stalls. However, for grants of $200,000 or $500,000 for major and severe damage, $75,000 can be used for rehabilitation purposes, while the remainder is restricted to roof repairs only.
From, a national recovery standpoint, we need to see the roofs go back on. So I'm going to take this opportunity to appeal to you, please. Use the grant for the purpose for which it was given. It's a lot of money. It's taxpayers' money. It's money for which we are going to have to pay for in debt and interest.
Under the modular homes component of the SRP, Dr. Holness revealed that the first batch of 500 pre-built modular units should arrive on the island by mid-February.
These units are going to go to the most vulnerable, persons who won't be able to find the first cent to pay a contractor or a carpenter. So you would be looking at possibly, an elderly, someone who's shut in, a mother with 6 or 7 children and nobody to help, these kinds of vulnerable cases.
The Ministries of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development and Local Government and Community Development will be responsible for identifying the beneficiaries and the deployment and allocation of the units. Over in Border St. Elizabeth, economic potential was restored for vendors whose stalls were destroyed by Hurricane Melissa. Prime Minister Holness was on location last Friday for the official reopening of the shops.
Today's reopening of the business kiosks and shops at Border in St. Elizabeth carries significance far beyond the physical restoration of a market space. It represents a defining statement of national intent that after a disaster such as Hurricane Melissa, Jamaica is intentional and serious about rebuilding communities, restoring livelihoods, and renewing the foundations of economic life with greater resilience and purpose.
Vendors expressed their gratitude for the support.
The shop looked uniformed and beautiful. I just love it.
Things start back really fast than we expected. We expected it to start back so fast. We appreciate it and we're back and up and running.
We closed the program with expressions of gratitude by Dr. Holness to partners who have responded and are still supporting the national relief effort. A courtesy call was held with World Central Kitchen, which prepared and distributed approximately 6.6 million meals over 75 days. Dr. Holness also met with the International Federation of the Red Cross.
So we're very pleased, the host is very pleased to have you. It is a signal of honor for you to be visiting, and it does show that Jamaica registers on your radar as a country for which your attention should be given, and we're very grateful for that.
Support from the Red Cross includes water purification systems, mobile health clinics, and international medical teams working alongside local health workers. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Jamaica sits on an earthquake-prone zone, making disaster readiness a critical part of national resilience, especially within the education system. We take a look now at how one primary school prepares its students.
What if there's a crack in the playfield and one of us falls in? Should we tell the teacher or try to help them out?
That question is one of the reasons the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation, along with ODPEM and the Jamaica Fire Brigade, conducted earthquake drills in some schools in the parish as part of an ongoing effort to raise earthquake awareness and ensure preparedness. Students and staff were drilled on safety protocols, aiming to enhance their ability to respond effectively in the event of a real earthquake.
If you are on the outside or in an open area and you realize that there is a crack in the earth, all you have to do is to remove yourself from that location and take cover elsewhere.
Disaster coordinator at the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation, Ornella Lewis, emphasized the importance of these exercises in fostering a culture of preparedness and minimizing risks.
We try to encourage the students and also the staff, visitors who come by, that earthquake preparedness is something that is paramount, and also encourage them that earthquakes happen right throughout the year. We also want to encourage them that earthquakes are always a threat to us here in Jamaica based on our geographical location.
So you're outside and you hear earthquake, the alarm goes off, you duck, you cover on your hole, and you use your hand to kind of block your face. If someone is missing, you tell the teacher that someone is missing, right? You never try to return to the building to find that person.
Earthquake! Okay, give her a clap for me. Very, very good. Right, so you should stay under there a little longer, right? Until you hear the second alarm.
The students' response was commendable in that we have an infant department, and see the younger students responding the way they did. That was commendable on their part. There are always areas in which we can strive to improve.
We would have had some mishaps while we were doing our drill, and so we'll take into consideration all that was shared with us, and going forward we'll ensure with the assistance of the Guidance Council that we practice so that we become perfect at what we do.
Every term we do different simulation exercises. So today we would have showcased what we would have been practicing over the term, last term leading up to this term. So I'm extremely pleased.
At the end of the drill, students gave their take on what they learned.
I learned how to evacuate from the bathroom. There's an earthquake is happen. First thing you do is you duck and go under a desk and hold your head. And then you will look for until you hear another alarm, and then you will line up and come to the assembly point.
And that's it for today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Remember to visit our website at jis.gov.jm for more news you can use. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stay safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.